A 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in San Francisco, California is priced at a low $488,000. But there's a huge catch. You're forced to be a landlord for a tenant who has perpetually low rent until the year 2053. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have an interesting story for you today, and it's coming out of San Francisco, California. It has to do with a house that's being sold below the market rate for what houses cost up in the city. So obviously it's one of the most expensive places to live in the entire world. And so when you see a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for only $488,000, you're like, what's the catch? What's the catch? Well, there's a big catch, okay? Basically, you have to subsidize a tenant's rent in that house for 30 years, okay? You have to subsidize their living in your house for 30 years if you want to purchase it for that amount, okay? You're gonna lose far more than the difference between what you paid for the house, the $488,000, and the market cost of the home. You're gonna lose far more than that. And it's pretty obvious to me that only a moron would actually purchase a house with these stipulations on it, okay? So yeah, the current owner, I guess, created a lease that would allow the current tenant to live there till the year 2053, continue to pay a low rent, never have any chance of a rent increase. So even if your costs are increasing exponentially, and believe me, they will, okay? Whether inflation is as high as it is right now, or if it's at a normal rate, your costs are going to increase exponentially, right? And you're going to be forced to subsidize that tenant from day one for the next 30 years. I mean, it sounds insane to me. It sounds absolutely insane, but I'm going to tell you the details of this story as I go through the article. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Would you purchase a home where, you are forced to keep a tenant in the unit paying below market rents? Okay, so let me say this right now. I have purchased real estate before that is tenant occupied, where the tenant was paying below market rents, okay? And you obviously know what I did, right? I got the tenant to sign a new lease after I purchased the property, and or I got rid of that tenant, because they were on a month to month. So yeah, I mean, in regular places, you can take care of the situation, no problem, okay? But then when you're talking about San Francisco with all its very strong tenant rights, etc., who knows what the outcome of this could be, okay? Now they tell you, oh, you have to abide by the lease that is currently in place when you purchase the property when it comes to dealing with the tenant, right? So if a lease is in place that has like crazy provisions like the one that I'm going to cover in this article, I mean, to me, that seems very much unenforceable, okay? Just don't buy it. That's what I would suggest. I would suggest you just leave the current owner stuck with this crappy lease and this crappy tenant, and then go find something else. Anyway, let me get into the article. This article is coming from usatoday.com, and it says, this San Francisco home is priced at a low $488K, but there's a catch. Let's get into it. The house is for sale in San Francisco at a price some residents may find shockingly low, considering the costly Golden Gate City housing market. The 3-bed, 2-bath home at 30 Northview Court in the city's Russian Hill neighborhood is up for $488,000, according to a listing posted on Zillow. But there's one catch. The new owner may not be able to move in until 2053. And they have a picture of the home here in the article, and I'll throw that up on the screen. It looks like a nice home, considering it's a single-family house in San Francisco, okay? $488,000. Obviously, if you want to live there in the city, that seems like a good price. I don't know why you would want to live there in that city, but whatever. I'm just saying, okay? Let me continue. According to the listing, the single-family home is currently tenant-occupied and to be sold as is. It's described as an investment opportunity for just the right buyer. Current tenant claims San Francisco City Tenant Protection Class status. It continues. Tenant's current lease appears to grant tenants strong long-term rent rate amount restrictions, unconventional method of rental payment, and possible occupancy rights until 2053. The listing does not clarify what the unconventional method is. So yeah, not only does this tenant have extremely strong protections when it comes to eviction, right? And a lease that possibly where you have to keep this tenant in there until 2053, but it says that there's unconventional method of rental payment. Now, I don't know what that means, okay? To me, that sounds like you're not even going to be getting paid with money. Okay, so that's what it said. Oh, I'll be paying you with seashells or some garbage like that, okay? I don't know. Is it worth the hassle, right? And I don't think so. It's never worth the hassle. If you have to wait that long, where this person is staying in your unit in perpetuity, where you're subsidizing their rent and the property is only valued what people are willing to pay for it, okay? Don't make any mistakes in thinking for a second that, oh yeah, the other houses in this neighborhood, they sold for $1.5 or $2 million each, right? And so this house is worth $2 million. Nope. The house is worth what people will pay for it. And obviously, nobody wants to pay $2 million for that house or whatever the houses in that neighborhood are worth, right? Nobody wants to pay this $488,000. You couldn't give me that house for free. Okay, you couldn't give it to me for free because I know that I'm going to be stuck with a bill long term if I end up with this home. Current tenant may live there until 2053 and continue to pay the same rent. Under an agreement, the listing reads, the current tenant can possibly continue to live there until 2053 and pay the same amount of rent each month, just under $417. It goes on to say the tenant will also pay their own garbage, water, and electricity bills. So, in San Francisco, California, they want you to purchase a home for $488,000, right? And the tenant pays $417 a month in rent with an unconventional payment method. And you have to keep that tenant in there for the next 30 years. Now, keep in mind, I want you to keep in mind that interest rates for new home purchases for investors are closer to 8%. 8% interest rate. So what are we talking about here when we're talking about the $417 a month that this tenant will be paying won't even cover the property taxes in the city of San Francisco. Won't even cover the property taxes. Okay? So you're going to be paying out of pocket for the next 30 years just to pay the property taxes, not including a mortgage. Okay? You're going to go and say, all right, I need to pay my mortgage payment. That's going to be at least for 488 grand. It's going to be at least a couple grand a month. I can't do the math right now, but we'll just say it's going to be about $2,000 a month. Okay? So you're thousands of dollars in the hole from the very get-go. I mean, I imagine, with your expenses, you're going to have to do repairs, etc. Right? We'll just say that you're $2,500 a month in the hole. Every single month for the next 30 years. So in a single year, you're already down 30 grand. Times 10 years, you're down 300 grand. Times 30 years, you're down $900,000, right? And then maybe this tenant passes away and maybe you'll pass away first. Who knows? This is a loser. Thumbs down. Do not buy this place. It's hilarious that somebody's actually trying to sell it. I don't know who the current owner is who set up this horrible deal with this tenant, but man, to me it sounds like maybe it's a parent who wants gifted this home to a child who couldn't afford to buy it, right? I don't I don't even understand why you would rent it to your child instead of just giving it to them. But so maybe that's not it. Okay, I don't know how this tenant ended up in this place with such cheap rent, but this is a bad deal.